How is it going, everyone? We are going to go over the expression to cut. To cut is to miss a class, to miss an important class. I think we've all done this at one point in our lives where we just don't feel like going to class, so we cut the class. So yes, it's to miss a class. Now, I'm going to start this off by using the first person pronoun I, and I'm going to make a sentence here. So if I say I cut class on Mondays, I cut class on Mondays. If I'm just using class, that means I'm cutting all of my classes on Monday. I'm skipping them. I'm not going to my classes. Now, you can also say I cut English class on Monday, so maybe you don't go to your English class on Mondays. You skip it and you are just doing whatever you're doing. Now, when we say this sentence, sometimes it can come across a little awkward, so we may want to add a frequency adverb in it to let the listener know what the frequency is in you skipping your class or you cutting your class. So we have always, which is all the time. We have sometimes, which is about 50-50. And we've got usually, which is, it's a lot. It's not quite as much as always, but it's still quite a bit. So when we're saying this sentence, we want to give some frequency there. So I can say, I always cut class on Mondays. So this is a continuous thing. I am continually cutting class on Mondays. Every Monday I cut class. Now I can also say I sometimes cut class on Mondays, so that's about 50-50. Not all the time, but sometimes 50-50. If I say I usually cut English class on Mondays, then I maybe cut quite a few English classes, but not a bunch of English classes, not a lot of English classes. So you can add the frequency in here to let the listener know how often it is that you cut a class. Now, there's also, sometimes you just feel like it. You feel like it inside to cut a class. You just don't want to go. Maybe you don't feel good. Maybe you have a headache. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you're tired. In this case, you can use feel because you have the feeling. You've got the desire to cut class. So in that case, you can say, I feel like cutting. You need to use cutting in this sense. I feel like cutting class on Monday. I feel like cutting class on Monday. So that just means you're feeling. If you want to, it's pretty much the same thing using want to. It's just kind of a desire. I want to cut class on Monday. But it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be feeling, but maybe it's just you just don't want to go to class for whatever reason. I want to cut class on Monday. Maybe you have a test on Monday. So feels like with third person pronouns like he and she, you want to be sure to add the S at the end. So he feels like cutting class on Monday. She feels like cutting class on Monday. He wants to cut class. He wants to cut English class on Monday. She wants to cut science class on Monday. So you have a lot of variations you can make here, and you do have more information in your communication flow chart to make your own sentences. Now, next we're going to do cutting. So if I say I'm cutting class, I'm cutting class. I'm cutting class today. So if I say this, it probably means that I'm cutting all classes today, since I'm not mentioning a specific class. Um, so if I'm saying I'm cutting class today, then I'm just cutting all the classes. If I'm saying I'm cutting science class today, that means I'm cutting, today I'm not going only to science class. And you can also say I'm cutting class. You can just make that statement, I'm cutting class. Again, that means all classes, but it just means, yeah, just now I'm cutting class. And yeah, that will get your point across that you're not going to class for the day. Now, you can also have past tense. The past tense of cut is cut. So if I say I cut class, it can be in the past tense, it can be in the present tense. I don't know because I don't have a time expression added to that statement. So if I say I cut class, it could be present tense, it could be past tense. If I say I cut class last Monday, that makes it a past tense because we put that time expression last Monday, the Monday before. That makes the statement a past tense statement. So I cut class last Monday. Even yesterday, I cut music class yesterday. Now, if you're wanting to give someone advice, we use the modal auxiliary verb should. Should we use a lot for giving advice or to express duties or obligations. Now, in this case, we would use should in a way that gives advice, but we're not going to say, let's say you're telling me that you feel like cutting science class. Me, I would tell you, you shouldn't, you should not cut science class. You should not cut science class. Now, I would not say you should cut science class because that might make me look bad because I'm telling you to miss a class. So yes, we're using should not. You say, I feel like cutting science class on Monday. I say, you shouldn't cut science class on Monday. So this is just a way to give advice to tell someone not to miss their class. So that is the lesson for to cut. Again, it just means to skip a class, to miss a class, to deliberately miss a class, to play hooky, which is one of the synonyms that we have for this word. So that concludes this lesson. Thank you very much for following along.